Alrighty, we are back. Your favorite podcast show of the week. This is Location Weekly, and it's episode number 475. Brianna, how are you? Baseball's back.
Baseball's back. The Braves have had some high scoring games. And yeah, I mean, it's a little different, right? But been watching a little bit. You?
Yeah, I've watched all the Jays games so far. It was like super brutal because we should have won all three games in the opening series in Tampa, and we only end up winning one. So not good. Not good when you collapse in the eighth and ninth inning with a lead. It's not good. But hey,
Yeah.
we beat the Nationals yesterday, so I'll take that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. So yeah, but yeah, I'm happy baseball's back and hockey's back tonight as well. And
hmm
basketball's, there's, it's good. There's stuff to watch.
Yeah. If I have the energy and the time to watch it, but
Yeah. Well, I don't sit
depends
there
on
and like that's all I do. It's on in the background while I'm doing other things. Yeah.
exactly.
So anyhow, all right. Well, we got a good show for you this week. No guests, super quick and easy. Four very interesting stories, a range of things from a number of brands doing some pretty creative things. So I'll let Aubriana kick us off.
All right. So this is kind of it's being claimed as an industry first, and I don't know of anything exactly like this that's out there yet, but Walmart is teaming up with kind of a few different partners to let people buy their groceries through email. Kind of interesting, right?
Hmm.
So basically, Verizon Media has announced that now if you are a Yahoo email subscriber, that you can do this groceries from Walmart program. So basically, you can browse, you can add to cart, you can buy whatever it is that you want to right within your Yahoo Mail app, and then you can apply the coupons that you might be getting within your mail or promotions right there within the same app. So they can personalize your grocery recommendations based on your Yahoo profile. They say the cart doesn't expire, so if you want to like start putting things in and then purchase towards the end of the week or whatever, it's not gonna go away. Last year Yahoo Mail launched Grocery View, which kind of offers like different stores in your areas, different deals that are available there. And so this one's going to allow customers to load up their cart, and then pick it up from the nearest Walmart location. What I thought was interesting about this story is that they're citing about how COVID has brought along so many consumer changes in our behavior and how we shop, which is true. I don't think that that's not true at all. But what I think is really interesting is that I actually think that the Verizon media portion of this is very interesting because with a lot of changes, with cookies or anyways, third-party cookies and obviously with the IDFA and like kind of the tracking of consumer behavior, context data, first-party contextual data is really going to be king. So the contextual data that an app like Yahoo would have on its own consumers to be able to offer something in app based on those users' preferences and behavior is pretty interesting. So I think that that type of data is moving to the forefront, and we're probably going to see more things like this come into play. I mean, I don't use Yahoo Mail. I don't know that many people that do, but I'm sure that they still have a ton of subscribers, and obviously Walmart is a huge store. So it'll be interesting to see like how this pans out from that perspective. But yeah, pretty interesting. What
Yeah,
you
I
think?
think it's quite interesting. So I do use Yahoo Mail. In fact, so like Verizon, I guess up here in Canada, I'm on Rogers cellular network, and their mail provider or their mail service is through Yahoo. So yeah, we have Yahoo Mail, and I don't think this is available in Canada, but it's I think it's very interesting. Two things I like about it. One is that this idea of sort of building and filling your cart over say the course of a week as you think of things that you need on your grocery list or whatever. I think that kind of is interesting. But I'm with you. I think the data. In-app opportunities to monetize and to drive transactions, I think, is becoming really interesting. We're seeing Twitter and Instagram and all kinds of other platforms now really move into commerce and move into sort of branded advertising and whatnot, because I think the targeting outside is getting more difficult, right? So I think it'll be really interesting. I think for a lot of these types of companies or these service providers, whether you want to call them that, Yahoo is interesting. It's so funny every time I see the name Yahoo and we're in North America. I'm like, are they still around? But they are. Like, I mean, as a mail service, they're still there, right? Because when I'm in Japan, where we have the LBMA operations there, Yahoo's huge. They're a completely separate legal entity, and they're number one in search by far, like outpace Google and everybody. So it's so weird to me to see that brand, but yeah, I think this is interesting. I think it's a good move by Walmart to try to leverage this type of partnership. We'll see if others follow, if Kroger or other people are going to try to find similar types of approaches. But I think very interesting. All right, second story, going all the way over to Iceland now. The Keflavik airport in Iceland is using AI data or AI platform to analyze and visualize data around passenger management and flow. So this is really interesting. So they're looking at passengers, capacity loading, physical distancing, all kinds of different things using AI to kind of crunch that data. But what's really neat about it is they're visualizing that data on screens in the back of the house. So normally, if airports are doing this to kind of show what wait times are like, for example, at security check-ins or those kinds of things, usually those screens that you see showing wait times are front of house, like where the customer or the passenger coming through the airport, in this case, can kind of see and make a decision. I'm going to go to gate A instead of gate C or whatever. Because the line's shorter. But they're really playing this out at back of house where they think they have the ability to affect staffing or service provision or different kinds of things to kind of understand and manage flow, or social distancing isn't being followed, we need to send more people there to enforce, or whatever the cases might be. I think this is very interesting. So like it's all highly visible screens, kind of showing gate lineups and other decisions. They're using a company called Veovo, I think is how you say it, Veovo. They're a UK-based company that specializes in mass transportation type of data visualizations. They're blending data from sensors, from airline schedules, from booking databases, and the airport operational database as well for wait times and lane productivity and boarding pass scans and all that type of stuff. So super interesting that they're blending that data together. They're not obviously the only company that's doing this type of work in terms of data aggregation. We're seeing a lot of this in more traditional retail, but I think it's very interesting and very effective, or can be very effective in transportation settings. And especially as we're trying to see a return to travel and business travel and tourist travel, I think being able to manage some of these things in terms of face masks and social distancing and wait times and queuing and all that sort of stuff, I think becomes very, very important. So I think this is interesting. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a good time for airports or places that anticipate traffic going back up again. I think this is a great time for them to start implementing this type of data and analytics, right? So having the ability to do that when there's far less people traveling and far less people maybe working, there's a lot less flights that are being scheduled right now, at least, here in the States, and I'm sure it's kind of the same in a lot of different, other countries as well. But I think that this is a good time to start implementing these types of programs, because if you can analyze the data as it is with a few people that are there, then as things scale up, I think it's going to help with flow, with social distancing, with just making things a lot better than they were. And I think that's a hard thing to do when the airports are as busy as they had been pre-COVID times. So kind of taking a scaled approach, I think this is what's happening within a lot of industries right now. But somewhere that has a lot of bodies that typically occupy a space, this needs to be implemented now. I mean, we've seen this with your company, Ground Level Insights, and how you're able to use different technology and sensors to in a variety of ways, right? So
Yeah.
whether that applies to marketing or analytics or just the data in terms of what's working and what's not, as well as social distancing, and if that's going to be a thing for the rest of our lives, who knows, right?
Yeah.
So it should be. I think this is a cool story, and I like that they're thinking about that in this specific time.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Let's talk some
All
Insta.
right. Yeah, yeah. So Instagram, and maybe a trip to the Grammys, if you play along. But Trident, the chewing gum brand, has launched this new campaign, kind of interesting. But they're collaborating with T-Pain, like the hip hop star T-Pain, to offer a free trip to the Grammys, if that happens, of course. Or you can get 10,500 US dollars in cash. And the way that this works is, so the Mondelez own brand has launched this campaign that's called hashtag Chew Tunes. So you can basically like mix your own beats using this augmented reality filter, and then you can post it on Instagram. But you have to buy this specific pack of gum in order to be able to do this. So you have to scan a QR code within it's called, it says like a Trident Gum Chew Tunes pack or something. And so you have to just post it on Instagram or Twitter, and then you use the hashtags Chew Tunes, sweepstakes, and Trident Gum. So I think this is interesting. We've seen some other food type of companies do a variety of campaigns trying to get people involved socially and kind of have some level of organic growth within those platforms. But what I find interesting is that the sales for gum have been slumping during COVID because it's more of an impulse buy, right? You're checking out and you just pick up that pack of gum. And so I think they didn't give any specific numbers on how far down the sales are, but obviously with people doing more like Instacart deliveries or online pickup, curbside pickup, they're just seeing a slump. But Instagram has seen a lot of growth. Obviously, more and more people are trying to interact digitally with other people, since we're not doing a whole lot of that face to face these days. And they've seen, they're forecasting a 14% rise this year. So I think that it's interesting that you're seeing this kind of convergence, right? Like what's declining, what's accelerating, how can we blend those two and maybe sort of help, drive awareness. I mean, the campaign as a whole is nothing super exciting to me personally, but maybe people who love T-Pain and like to chew a lot of gum, this is like right up their alley. We see a lot of things like with TikTok and all of this that become very viral. So something like this could be fun that kind of catches on for a moment. But yeah, so this is going to run through November 1st. So yeah, go buy some gum and make some beats.
Yeah. So I like this because I was just talking to my kids the other day, and we were talking about people creating these videos or think they're beatboxers or whatever, like that age group of trying to create content. I'm going to be the next star, whatever it is, right? Especially around music. And so I think like this certainly appeals to a certain age group and category of people who are on Instagram, who like to create content, who like to be seen, whatever it is, right? So I think there's definitely that they're capitalizing on. What I love about this the most, though, is that you need to actually go buy some gum and to scan the thing to start the process, right? So they're actually getting people, out there to go and get their gum. Probably you're going to eat the gum, or chew the gum or whatever, and maybe you'll like it. Maybe that'll be a product for you going forward. So like it's kind of an interesting way to kind of get people socialized, to or sampling their product even, right? In that sense, and paying for it. So that to me is very interesting because often when you see these social campaigns, it doesn't involve a purchase, typically, right? So I like that aspect of it a lot, and I think obviously it's going to create a ton of content for them on Instagram. I also like that they're running this for a significant period of time. It's not just like a 2 week campaign. It's there till November 1st, right? So I think there's a good amount of time for people to kind of get out there and kind of, get involved with this and, maybe get some kind of competition going, between people and, things like that as well. So I think this has got some legs. I like it, and Mondelez, they're always doing some cool things, especially with Oreo. But good to see it on Trident too.
There you
All
go.
right. Final story now. Shifting over to Japan and lifestyle brand company over there, Muji, is doing something very interesting. So, you've probably all been to a Muji store, along the way. They've got, very sort of I think of them as like the Japanese version of IKEA, sort of, right? Like they've got kind of that minimalist, sort of low cost, stuff, some nicer things, whatever, but simple. Um, but yeah, very interesting company. And they've got some great stores. We've got some here in Toronto. And but what they're doing is during this COVID time, they are taking their products on the road in a repurposed tourist bus, and they're selling their products to people who live in mountainous areas of Japan that can't get normally to where their stores are. So I think it's super interesting. I saw a similar project about a year ago from Patagonia as well. Kind of going into the rural parts of Chile or some different Latin American markets. But yeah, I think this is very interesting. So the world's largest Muji store is located in Tokyo's Naotsu shopping center, and so they're basically, trying to reach people who have difficulties getting into the city, and make sure that they can get to those people, and those people have access to their products and services. So for the whole, they're kind of driving around for the whole month of August, going all over the country to highly inaccessible areas, and starting to test this out. And then they're going to kind of go full scale in September, including clothes, stationery, toiletries, cleaning, cooking supplies, kind of the whole gambit of what Muji sells. They're going to talk to local residents. They're going to listen to their needs and their worries, and see if they can, kind of work to create a more sustainable community where they can help each other and foster new relationships. Sort of that's sort of the underlying goal, besides selling stuff. So yeah, I think this is interesting. I think it's always interesting when big brands, big retailers, sort of go into the community and engage. And I'll end my part before I turn it over to you with one similar experience I had here. So I remember a few years back, Lowe's was opening up a new store in my neighborhood. It was the first kind of Lowe's store in the area. And instead of kind of just doing, sending out the flyers or the ads saying, store opening and come out for the store opening, what they did is they actually went and got a potted plant from their garden center or whatever, and they delivered one. They sent like trucks around to every house in my neighborhood, basically stopping in with a potted plant and an invitation to come to the store opening. Um, which we could get to because it's accessible, but like the idea of kind of going out into your community though and engaging with people who are your potential customers, I think is brilliant, and you can't do better location based marketing than that. Like it doesn't have to be digital, it just has to be connecting with people around you. Over to you.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it wasn't that long ago, maybe like 4 or 5 shows, we had been talking about sort of the convenience factor and how can you take things that are old, right? The idea of the vegetable truck that comes around, or the milk truck, or the soda, or whatever it is, that kind of comes into a community on a regular basis, and make that new and fresh again. And to me, this is kind of along those same lines, right? So how do you make this more convenient for people who, have a hard time maybe getting down to specific areas? And, I think that this is something that could easily be replicated in so many different verticals and across a lot of different retail. So whether that's home improvement or just home goods, or just supplies that you might need on a regular basis, I think that taking those things out, for example, you mentioned IKEA, right? So like we have an IKEA store here, but it's not like it's far, but it's kind of a hassle to drive over to and go through the whole store and pick out what you want. I mean, it is like you have to dedicate a day to do that
Yeah.
pretty much. So, if there was like an IKEA tour truck that went to the different suburban areas of Metro Atlanta, then, I think that you would have a lot of growth and also awareness about different offerings that are there. So I think that that's a really smart idea, and I like how they're kind of scaling it, starting small and then being able to grow that. And obviously, as people see more that's there, it sounds like they would easily have the ability to maybe pre-order things that, they want to come to them. So I like it. I mean, I think it's smart, and it makes me just think about like what else can we do that's sort of along the same lines that offers convenience and kind of tightening that community a little bit more.
Yeah, and I agree with your point about IKEA. Like, so here in Toronto area where I am, we have a bunch of these little IKEA pickup outlet stores. So it's like a mini IKEA, and you kind of go in there, and they have like their top 100 items like physically available that you can shop in person. And then the rest of it, they have like a whole catalog area where you can kind of like flip through the catalogs and order, on site. And then anything that you order, you can pick up there or can be, delivered there. And that's local in your like local area. And then of course we still have like the big giant IKEA stores that are the day long experience as well. But yeah, so there you go. All right, well, that's our show for this week. Four very interesting news stories there. You've been listening to episode number 475 of Location Weekly. We thank you, as always, for your time. And if you have ideas for stories, if you have feedback, please reach out to us. We're available on all the channels out there. If you're watching the video version of this, the contact information is on the screen. And we'll be back next week with yet another episode. Have a great week, everybody, and happy baseball, people. Yeah, there you go. All right, bye.